Hey folks, it's a rainy day here in Kentucky and I thought I would take the opportunity to go ahead and get one of the things on my chore list accomplished. I'm slowly changing all of the light bulbs in the Pacific Coast, at least the ones that stay on permanently, over to LED to help with the power draw on the motorcycle, as these are notoriously weak for the electrical systems on them. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to go ahead and take off the front of the bike to get to the cluster for the instruments and replace the blue lights in it and probably a couple of the green ones. We'll get to it here in just a minute. The process for this is nearly identical to taking off the windshield to begin with. I'm going to go ahead, fold in the mirrors, get the T5, and start removing the bolts. Now, on this side, I actually only have one bolt retaining my mirror. The other has both. That loosened up. I actually just wrap this little holder around the socket just to keep it intact while I'm working. And then we'll come around to the other side and repeat the process. And get that mirror pulled and the bulb free from the housing. Now, as I mentioned in a previous video, a lot of my fasteners don't necessarily match up. This side is the correct T5. The other side, however, is a 10 millimeter. Give me just a moment to pause the video and grab the 10 millimeter and I will be back. All right, grab the 10 millimeter and let me get this bolt loose. And we'll remove this front cover. Well, I guess we need to pull the grill. This is actually a Phillips number 1. It is not a number 2. And they're a little rough to see and get to. So let's get some extra light on it. And hopefully you all will be able to see where I've gone to there. Right, that one feels out, and let's find the second. Sorry to block your view there to find that screw. That feels like it cleared. We'll take the grill out. This one will still be just a little caught. And we'll set that off to the side with our other parts, along with this trim piece. Now we're going to go back to the 10mm. Normally these do have 5 bolts. Some of mine have been lost over the years, so it is held on with 3. I'm going to just back the 2 on the side off a hair, enough to release the windshield. These are cut with a groove on the windshield, and they don't truly encase it. This center one, however, does. So it has to come all the way out to remove the windshield. Once those are out, see the windshield tips backwards and can be lifted out of its space. Lean that right over here. And remove the other 2 10s. And that will drop that metal clamping ring off and leave just our rubber to deal with. Now this, I was taught years ago by the man that originally owned this bike that the easiest way to put this on, and I do believe it's true, is when you put this back together, simply to coat everything with permagasket to hold your rubber in place while you tack everything back up and put it together. We'll set our components over here. Retrieve the 5mm. Actually, this is smaller than 5. I apologize. I want to say it's this purple one. It is not, it is the blue. And as I mentioned in a previous video, my bike being a bit aged and odd has 2 different screws here, a hex and a Phillips. And we'll get our number 2 Phillips to take that out. Once we drop those couple of screws, as you see, this entire structure comes free and gets us back into our gauge cluster. I'm going to set everything aside, grab the bulbs, and we'll come right back. All right, sorry about that. Now, our 2 lights for the speedometer gauge should be this one. Just very gently rock it around in circles until it comes out. We'll pull the old lamp, replace it with an LED. These are T10 size, and I got them on Amazon. I believe the brand was Sealight. I'll put a link in the description below to make sure. And I'm going to pull both of them because these bulbs do have polarity, and if they're installed backwards, they will not function. So we're going to check that before we plug them back in. And make sure that we have our polarities correct. Seem to be experiencing technical difficulties. Now let's try our switch and make sure everything works. It does. So we'll go ahead and put those back. All of these bulbs are T10s. I'm simply not changing the ones that don't stay on all the time because they're not going to make that much of a change on the power draw. Now for the opposite side, we will do the same thing. It should be this one here. And to give you an idea of the brightness difference, we'll pull both of these and light them up with one and the other. Let's see if I can get this guy tricked out without unplugging everything in front of it. There we are. Restabilize our light. Let's see if that's what we have. Here's our two side by side. Apparently the old one was burned out. There we are. Now you can see the difference in the two. Wasn't burned out, just a bit loose. And we will reinstall those. And just the same, wiggle it back in where you got it from. Since I'm doing the blues, I'm also going to come down here and do our high beam light. As soon as I pick the bulbs back up off the floor. All right, and we will test him to make sure that polarity is correct on him. Perfect. Not that it's a terrible job taking all that apart, but I'd rather not do it multiple times if I do not have to. All right, guys, I'm gonna stop the video here, grab a green bulb. We will come back and do the neutral. Be back in a second. All right, guys. The next one that we're going to be going to is the second one up. That is the neutral bulb. And I will try to do this without knocking the camera over or the lamp. Wish me luck. This one appears to be stuck better than the others were. It's coming just slowly. Almost there. All right. Now this bulb is a different brand bulb. Frankly, money's a bit tight right now, so I was buying whatever I could get fairly cheap on the Prime Day sales. And I needed greens to do the transalp for the same repair. And we will, apparently we got that one wrong. Flip it over for the other polarity. Light should be in neutral. There we are. Now that one works. So we'll go ahead and put it back as well. Alright guys, let me pause the video. We'll go to the gauges and we'll see how they look. Alright, here is going to be a view of the gauges with the new bulbs. Much brighter than what we had before. Alright, I'm going to go ahead, turn you guys off, and put the bike back together, and back in a bit. Okay guys, I wanted to come back a little early to show you what I was talking about earlier with the forma gasket. I've put this fresh coat on. It's been on there probably about 10 to 15 minutes. Now, anybody that's ever taken this off knows what a hassle this can be, unless you have a friend or 4 arms. Unless you were lucky enough to be born in Chernobyl, or unlucky enough, whichever way you want to look at it. What the forma gasket allows you to do is to put that on there to replace your parts without needing 4 arms. I let it set maybe 10 to 15 minutes, and as you can see, I'm not going to have to struggle to put in bolts and reattach pieces. So I'm going to come over here, grab my bolts for the cover piece, and I can simply come over, find my first hole in the center, touch my 2 to the side, which of course we'll have to take the center one back out again to get the windshield mounted. We want those nice and loose. But it simply allows us to easily do by ourselves something that we would normally have had to go get someone else to do. We'll take the center back out so we can mount the physical windshield. Lift it up so we can slide that in there at the right angle. Get everything behind into our 2 hooks. There's 1, there's 2, and our center hole. All right, I'm going to set you guys on pause, finish this up, and I will be right back. Alright guys, I'm back. We're finished up. She's back together, and I thought I would let you all see the results of these LED headlights that I've done in the past. And of course, what we have now with our new dashboard. I've also done the LED on the brakes and rear lights. Those are much brighter than they were stock. I do feel like it gets me seen more, but more importantly, I think it really, truly helps with the electrical system on this machine. These were fairly weak, and as I like to ride in the winter time, it does help to save as much power as you can. Okay, now that we've got everything straightened out, I just want to talk a little bit about the power consumption. What we did today was mostly cosmetic. We saved maybe 10 to 15 watts of power on it, but it was my last step actually on this motorcycle. I've already upgraded the headlights to LED, I've already upgraded the tail lights to LED, I've already upgraded the running lights and the turn signals to LED. And over the course of everything that I've done, I've probably saved right around 110 to 120 watts of power that I'm taking off of normal usage for the motorcycle to supply, which is plenty enough for me to be able to run full heated gloves, a full heated vest, and things like that for the winter riding season, which will really allow me to run later into the year and will bring the motorcycle up to where it's trying to put out roughly as much power as if I had done none of the improvements at all. It's small things leading up to a big result is more what it is than anything else. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.